everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Welcome, fabricators. So I've been trying to figure out how to tackle Fabric IQ for a little while. I've seen a lot of different videos out there, and all of them start with an ontology. I'm actually going to start with you today on GraphQL as a tutorial, because one of the really important things that I want to make sure that we understand is that Fabric IQ is not one service. It's not like we go into Microsoft Fabric and we provision a Fabric IQ work item. No, it's made up of multiple items. It's made up of graph, it's made up of ontologies, it's made up of operational agents, data agents, semantic models, digital twin builder, plan, and plan contains power table, intelligence sheets, and info bridge. That's a lot for us to be able to tackle in one tutorial. So we're going to start out with graph, but I'm also going to tell you, hang on till the end. While I want you to be able to do this tutorial, and we are doing the learn tutorial, the description of this is going to be down in the description of the video if you want to follow along. This is fundamental to understanding the way ontologies work, but I don't necessarily want you to sit there and build a whole lot of graphs unless that's something you're really interested to do. My goal is for us to tackle Fabric IQ in this series, starting out in this video, and we're going to do it with graph. Now, the first thing we need to do is make sure that we've actually enabled this, because this is a preview service on our Fabric tenant. Make sure and go into the admin portal. If you're not a tenant admin, make sure that your tenant admin can do this. This is also something that can be set up at the capacity level if you are learning or doing some level of experimentation. Keep in mind, the service is still in preview, so we're not quite ready for this to be a production rollout. All right, enough of this. I don't just want to talk to you about it. I want to show it to you. So let's go look at this together. All right, so I'm going to start off with my tutorial, and my apologies. I had to present a couple times before we got started with this video, and now this is my voice. Okay, so we're doing the graph tutorial. I'm going to do a step-by-step through here. The first thing we need to do is we need to get the graph data that we're going to be using for the tutorial. So let's go ahead and let's open this up. I'm going to go to the GitHub page, and we're going to get the AdventureWorks docs sample. Now, this is going to download a zip file for us when I extract it. It's got all these different folders in it. Now, the folders are actually Delta Parquet tables. We've got a Delta table, we've got a Parquet file, and we've got a log associated with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in our graph tutorial, and we're going to create a lakehouse. Now, in the lakehouse, we're going to end up uploading all of this data. So we're going to make this, we're following the tutorial to a T, AdventureWorks Lakehouse. Go ahead and we'll create that. Now, once this creates, we need to upload our data. So we're going to go over to our files section once I get rid of these little pop-ups. And we're going to click Get Data. Let's go ahead and open up a new tab, upload folders and files. And now I'm going to overwrite if it exists just to be on the safe side, but I know I'm only going to grab this once. We're going to have to grab every root table. So we're going to start with customers. We go ahead and we click upload. We're going to have to do this again and again and again. So in just a second, I'm going to start fast forwarding through this. We're going to get employees. We click upload. And then it's going to be the same thing over and over again. So through the magic of video, we're going to speed this up. We're going to get all these files loaded and uploaded. Now, once this happens, again, we need to set these as tables. Now we have an option to be able to ingest them where we can right click and we can just add, and we can say load, and we can select the Parquet data type because these are Parquet files. Now I'm going to go ahead and through the magic of video editing, little Fabric magic right here, I'm just going to refresh and we get all our tables, but you're going to need to load each table one at a time. Now that we've got the data loaded, we're going to go in here and we're going to create our graph. Now, remember, I told you I want you to do this for the tutorial, but this isn't what we're going to be doing in the real world. And you'll understand why by the time we get to the end of this. We're going to call our graph AdventureWorks graph. And now there's two main components of graphs. We're going to select our data from our lakehouse, but then we need to start creating those individual things. We grab every single table because we're going to need a node for each table. It's the representation of our data. And so we'll start by creating our customers node. We're going to map it to our AdventureWorks customers table, and then the customer ID key, because that's the relationship we're going to use to be able to filter the data. We're then going to create a node for employees. For employees, it'll be the AdventureWorks employees table. And for our column, we're looking at employee ID key. Next up, we're going to create our orders table. We're going to map this to customer orders. And then we're also going to get the sales order detail. Very important that we get that key. Product category, we're going to go for the product categories table, but this time we're selecting the category ID key. You can start to see the pattern here. We're going to do one of these for each table because these nodes are the entities that we'll actually have. So we get products, and now we're going to go to customer products, InventoryWorks products, and we're going to get the product ID key. Next up, we go to product subcategories because obviously we're going to go to that table. Now, why is it important that we define these node relationships? Because we're going to have these nodes as the entities, and then we're going to end up connecting them with edges. Each of these edges will have a purpose for the way that we actually use this data. So we do vendor product, and then we're going to finally add a node for vendors, and this will be the last of our tables that we needed to create. Right, now that I have all my entities in place, now that I have all my nodes in place, I need to add my edges. So the first thing that we're going to cover is something that sells. Well, we sell orders, and who sells the orders? The employees sell the orders. So we want to make sure that we have our orders table and our order sales detail key, and then our employees. Similarly, as we start to zoom in on this, you're going to see that these relationships start to form. They start to make sense. We have purchases. Well, we're going to purchase orders, but who purchases orders? Who's our source node? It's our customers. And then what are our customers purchasing? Well, they're purchasing our orders. So we can see these relationships start to take form. So there's going to be some diagram mapping that we need to do between the tables and between the relationships to be able to make this work. Now, this concept is still very, very key, and I'm going to talk about where we get that in just a moment and why it's so key as we continue to fill these out. So now we're going to contains because, of course, orders contain products. And as we build these relationships, it gives us the capability to see the connection, the interconnectivity of our data. Now, this is as of type, and we have products, and then we have product subcategories. So we want to make sure that we understand what type of product are we actually utilizing. This connects this so that way we can get purchases from customers, and we can also see what categories our employees are selling. So next up, we're going to connect belongs to product subcategories, and we're going to put this to a product category. Once I confirm this, next up, we need to make one other relationship because we have vendors that create products, right? So who produces this? It's a vendor. So let's go ahead and let's get our vendor. We're going to select our vendor foreign key, and then the product, and then the product ID to be able to connect these two. So this starts to take shape, and we can see that we have products that belong to a category. We have orders that contain those products, information produced by vendors, and we have all this information. Now let's add a customized node. I'm going to add one called country because let's track the country for our employees. And I derive this from the employees table. Now, once I do that, I don't need every single field in here. And so I'm going to delete everything but country, because country is really the only thing that I need to be able to track. So we're going to take our country, and now we're going to add an edge to our employee table. And our employees live in countries. So we're going to select this, but I'm going to select something wrong. I'm going to make the connection to be country to country from the employees table. And that's not exactly how we filter employees, right? Our relationship key is the employee key. Oh no, so what do? Well, the really nice thing is I can just double click on the edge and I can actually make the changes right here. So I'm just going to change the employee mapping column from country to the employee foreign key that we utilize. Okay, now that we have this in place, I can actually do some fun stuff. I can do some querying. So we're going to add customers, and then I'm going to say customers contain and customers purchase because I want to understand the relationship of what we have going on here. Now this runs this. This is a visual query interface, and I can immediately get back a list of all my customers. Let's get a little more real estate so we can zoom in on this and take a look at this a bit more. And I can see that looking at this, I have properties. I have purchases, and then the purchases have products, and then also I have customers who have purchased individual products. Very visual way for me to be able to start looking at this information. But the neat thing is I can also filter on this. Now, one of the things I can do, let me arrange this. I'll get and zoom in on the customer a bit. I could filter on any product, but we hit this filter tag. I'm going to change this to full name, and I'm going to filter on a specific customer. So let's go ahead and let's filter. And now I can find all of this customer activity for Carla Adams. So I can see Carla's purchases, I can see her orders, and I can see the products that Carla is purchasing. Now, really cool stuff, very visual, but what if I don't want to use the visual things? Because this is eventually going to lead us to data agents, right? What doesn't lead us to data agents? And for data agents, we're going to need a way to query this. So as we query this, and what we're using for this, well, we're using GQL or GraphQL. And you can see there's a bunch of different queries that we can run to be able to get grid results back. Interesting stuff. But I'm not going to focus on this. I just want to make sure you know this capability is here. And these are all the different queries that we've actually got within the tutorial that you could run to be able to take a look at. One thing I want you to note, though, is this is case sensitive. You'll notice I took product and I put a lower P in there. I think it's very important that we call this out, just so you know there is case sensitivity if you were to write this. We don't have a copilot for this yet, but I imagine we're going to have a copilot that helps you write queries for this pretty soon. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in an ontology, because it's really key as we talk about Fabric IQ and we talk about ontologies to understand that we are first and foremost built off of graph. So let's go ahead and let's build this ontology. I'm not going to build the whole ontology the way that we did previously, but I am going to build our customers, our orders table, and I'm going to create a relationship between them. So that way you understand, I don't want you to build graphs. I want to use ontologies, but through the ontologies, we're going to get the power of a graph. So we're going to come in here, we're going to select our customers table. When this happens, I can see that I have a choice between series or time series. This is a regular series table. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to set my unique key just like we did in our graph demo. And then I'm going to do the same thing for orders. We're going to come in here, grab the orders table. You can see it pulls in all the orders columns. I'm going to add my entity key specifically for my foreign key. And then I'm going to add my relationship. Now, I'm going to specify the type of relationship I want. It's purchases, my source is customers, my target is orders. I'm going to create this. And then I need to fill out some information specifically on the relationship configuration. I'm going to specify the workspace that we're utilizing, the lakehouse where I'm pulling this data from. And then I'm going to select our table for customers for our source. And then I'm going to select our customer foreign key. Again, very similar to what we did with the graphs. Same for orders, my sales order detail foreign key. And now once this saves, I can see a little bit of Fabric magic right there. I have a graph created within my ontology. And if I come in here, this will start to look familiar to you because I've got my orders, my customers. I can come in here and I can do a node query. I can select my customers. I can select purchases. And when I run this, I will get the results of my customers. Now, if I wanted to, I could even go in here and I could filter again and we could do Carla Adams the same way that we did because we have the full capabilities of graph in this. Now, this is the key concept I want to make sure that we understand. I don't want you to build a graph. I want you to build an ontology. But that ontology is naturally going to have these relationships defined as a part of it, which makes this very powerful when we look at how we connect multiple different tables, multiple different data sources, and then how we're actually going to define and use the semantic nature of this to be able to work within a data agent. Okay, sound off. I want to hear from you. Are you excited about this? Are you excited about ontologies and Fabric IQ? Was this helpful to understand how graph is actually built off of it? Thank you so much for joining us on Tales from the Field. As always, be good to one another. Bye, everybody.
Aftermath of preparation, good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it.